What nobody really tells you when you start homeschooling. In this video, we're going to talk about what no one really tells you when you begin homeschooling. We're going to be talking about the cons and the pros so that you feel confident with the decision that you have made. Hi, welcome. If you are a parent who is looking to homeschool and you have questions about how to start and where does this journey begin, you are in the right place. I've seen so many parents making the decision of homeschooling out of frustration and out of emotion, and when that happens, the decision is short-lived. This is why establishing a why is very important. It helps you be confident with the decision even when things get hard. Part of the decision that led me to homeschool was my own experience through high school, and also some things that I have experienced with my daughter being in school. My daughter, at the age of 11, while she was in public school, she started coming home more grouchy, more tired, and her attitude started changing. I started seeing these red flags. I realized that she was beginning to live two different sides of her personality. One that she showed at school being peer pressure, and one at home. She told me a couple of stories where an 8th grader will be bumping into her, and she began to ask me if she could learn how to fight and defend herself. My daughter's personality began to change, and it really broke my heart. Not only she was experiencing peer pressure, she was going through drama at a very young age. But one conversation that really stuck with me was one morning as I was taking her to school. She was very anxious because she was having a test this morning. She asked me if there was something she could do to help her nerves. And I told her something I actually did when I was raised in a Christian school. I told her that before I take a test, I would spend a few minutes and pray and just ask God to help me. She said to me that that was something that she would not do in school because she was worried that other kids would look at her differently. And that situation made me realize how much the environment that she was in was shaping her character, her spiritual well-being, her friendships, and even her academics. And while reading many books about homeschooling, I came across this quote from Mark Twain that says, "When you find yourself in the side of the majority, it's the time to pause and reflect." My daughter was definitely in the wrong environment, and we chose to put her there because everybody does it. Everybody sends their children to school, and it seems like it's a normal thing to do. From that moment on, I knew that something needed to change. But I also want to say this. The decision to homeschooling needs to be a very wise decision. It is important that you know what you're getting yourself into so that you can have a strong why. When you decide to homeschool, you have to think about where do you homeschool, what curriculum choices to make, and how this will affect you financially. Homeschooling takes preparation with intention, but once you have that rhythm, everything will start falling into place. Now, let's talk about the honest cons and pros of homeschooling. One of the best parts of homeschooling is how flexible it can be and how everybody's homeschooling can look a little bit different from the other. So let's start with personalized learning. Personalized learning is huge for many families. When you homeschool, you get to choose your curriculum, you get to choose how your day will go about, what you're going to study that year or that semester. With my son, sometimes we choose to start the day with morning worship and gardening, or even study about bugs, which he really loves. Whenever we decide to learn something new, we just find the resources and we dive in. We even spent 2 months learning entomology, which is the study about bugs, which my son really enjoyed. And he also got to create his own ant farm and take care of his little ants in there. I love that because we're homeschooled, we don't have to rush every morning out of the house, and he has time to get up and take care of his little pets. That is the beauty of homeschooling. You can shape the curriculum towards STEM or acting, music, cooking, anything that your child enjoys and loves. They can actually flourish in that because they'll have time, and you can cater the curriculum to shape those interests. When I homeschool my daughter, she actually had more time to follow her passions in the arts and even playing volleyball. She looked forward every week to go to her volleyball practices. When your child is interested in playing sports, homeschool children can also participate of the high school sports teams. They can get to try out. Some districts allow that, some no. So you might want to find that out in your district. I want to emphasize that homeschool children do not miss out. They have the same or even better opportunities than those children that are in school. You just have to find the resources and talk to the right people. And I've seen children even starting their own businesses from very young. Number 2, more family connections. Homeschooling allows for more quality time. It would allow you to also learn more about your children. You will learn more about their learning styles, their passions, and their struggles. This time together will help you build stronger bonds with your children that you will otherwise will not have when your child is gone for most of the day. We are a ministry family, and the flexibility we have to pick up and go whenever we need to is huge for us. We don't need to submit letters to the teachers or even catch up with schoolwork or homework. One of the best perks of being homeschooled, even if you're not a ministry family like us, is that you get to travel on off season. That means you get to save money in transportation, and even the places that you visit will be less crowded, because when you travel in off season, not everybody else is traveling at that time, and places and parks and different areas are less crowded, which makes it even more exciting. Not having to adhere to a school schedule and a school calendar can be very beneficial when you love to travel. And for us is to be able to travel more with that, because we can take even our books with us if we're going to be staying at a place for a week or more. Although it's important that you have a routine for your children, which we do, but there's times where mom may not be feeling well or the children may not feel well. Those days we can slow down or even take a day off. It's important that when you're homeschooling that you also take care of yourself and you let your child recover when they're feeling down or sick. Number 3, stronger family values and character development. One of my favorite parts of homeschooling is that we can wake up and we can sit down and talk about our day. We get to read a scripture and we get to sing hymns, and we just can enjoy that quiet morning. But one of the most important things is that homeschooling parents are in charge of the character developing of their children. Even if you're not homeschooling, God gave you that huge responsibility to shape your children's character. Parents are the first teachers. God gave you the responsibility to teach your children lessons of obedience, respect, self-control, and reverence. Your children begin to be educated from the moment they are born. It is the responsibility of the parent to guide that child for higher ministry work in their lives. The best thing you can do for your children is to create an environment where they can develop that character and the values that you envision for them. For us, the public education did not align with our values. When you rush your child to an environment where even God is taboo, that's not the place where I want my children to be in. I want my children to be in an environment where they're learning, their passions are being nurtured, and they don't have to deal with the drama. The great thing of homeschooling is that you get to put your child in the place and the environment that best fits your family values. You can even find groups that also have the same worldview as you. Most of the things that children learn are not just from textbooks, but also from daily activities, daily interactions, and experiences that you may provide for them. Safe and an encouraging environment for your children. At home, your child can be in a space where they can be free to be themselves and to learn in a safe environment. You can also protect their well-being while still challenging them academically. And yes, they will be away from the negative influences that normally occur in public school settings. As parents, it is our right to protect our children from those negative influences and to guide them. Just recently, I learned about a story about an 8-year-old who was beat up in a school bus. That really broke my heart, and I know that is not the environment I want my children to be in. Now, of course, this type of situations can happen anywhere, even outside of schools. Children pick up new ideas, behaviors, and attitudes. At home, we can be intentional about those influences, and we can shape our children's heart and minds. My high school experience in New York City was less than desirable. The things I experienced and witnessed in high school were things that I would never allow my children to be a part of. And I'm talking about 20 years ago. Imagine what schools are like today. Now that I'm a grown-up adult, I realized that my school was more like a grown kid daycare. The things that they were teaching me were not really challenging for me. I felt like my education was dumbed down and I started to become lazy and didn't really need to try hard enough to get a good grade. I did make some changes to my career choices and I had to make a lot of sacrifices. But I believe that the decision I made to educate my children at home is a decision that I would do 2 and 3 times all over again. So this brings me to the cons of homeschooling. And the number one challenge I want to talk to you about today is time commitment. I believe that for a lot of families, the time aspect of homeschooling is what breaks their school. People had always thought that homeschooling my youngest son was very time consuming and more challenging. But I realized the one that took the most time for me to homeschool was my high school student, my older child. Her schooling would take about 4 to 5 hours compared to my son, who would take 2 to 3 hours to homeschool. Grading my son's schoolwork was a lot easier and different than grading my oldest school. She will have writing assignments, reading assignments, and even big projects. Not only she had those assignments, I was the one in charge of grading them, scheduling them, and even keeping track of the notes and the grades. What really took the biggest amount of time for us in homeschooling was to grade and keep track of assignments. Whether you have a little one or an older one, it is important that you grade their work daily and consistently. That way they have feedback right away and correct their assignments right away. For my daughter, for those high school years, I realized that her weakness was math, and unfortunately for me as well. So I had to help her sit down and try to figure out a lot of this math problems that she was given on a daily basis, and sometimes even outsource some of those tutoring lessons and bring her to someone that can help her. The second challenge that you may face when you homeschool is the socialization part. One of the challenges is that many people would say to you that your child is going to be antisocial, and we hear that a lot as homeschool parents. I do believe that if you have multiple children, this might not affect you as much. But if you do have that one child that needs to be socialized and that flourishes in social environments, you do need to go out and find meeting groups, or maybe putting your child on sports or music or any environment where they get to see other children and share activities and projects with them. If you're pulling your child from a public school and they already have friends and you consider those friends to be good, keep those friendships and keep cultivating them, because this will be very helpful for your children. It would also make your children's journey through homeschool even more enjoyable. One thing that has helped us in our family is to join a homeschool group. In our homeschool group, we get together every week, we plan activities, we take turns with their parents to plan an activity for the children. Sometimes we go to museums, sometimes we go to the parks, and we just share moments together. Also, when you're part of a homeschool group, you get to meet together for parties, for holidays, and it just makes the homeschooling experience more enjoyable. The next challenge you might face when you decide to go homeschooling is that you might be experiencing self-doubt. You might feel unqualified or overwhelmed. But I want you to remember that nobody loves your child more than you and is invested in them more than you. If you feel unqualified and start having doubts about your children's education, you may feel like you're not the right person to teach your child. You don't need to worry. There's so many resources out there and curriculums and different ways that you can teach your children and flourish. I want you to know that it's going to be okay. You don't need a teaching degree and you don't need to be a master on the subject. All you need is to find the right resources for your child. So continue watching and stay tuned for my next video, because I will be talking more about curriculums and those different tools that you can use for your children's education. I trust that you will give your child the best education because it's you who's providing it for them. I know that you will do the best for them, and I know that your child will be capable of learning from the resources that you will find and from you. So our next challenge that you might face when you decide to homeschool might be financial. You might be thinking how you're going to go about homeschooling if you have a full-time job or if your job is very demanding. I know that this may be the reason why you may decide not to homeschool, or somebody that you know may not be homeschooling because of this one reason. I was in a situation myself. I went to college, I had a career, and I was even exercising my career at a big agency. But I have decided that with my convictions, I needed to make the next step in my life to be able to be at home and to educate my children. I am not completely a stay-at-home mom. I still work, but I'm able to manage my schedule around my children. I'm able to wake up very, very early and have 3 hours of concentrated work, then prepare my children breakfast, worship with them, and then start a school day. And then later on in the evening, when things are quiet and dad is home, I'm able to sit down and continue my work that was left off. And maybe you can fine tune the situation in your family. Maybe you can switch your schedule at work, or maybe you can even find a work from home opportunity where you're able to do the same thing. Wake up very early and do your work, and then educate your children, or even work all morning and homeschool your children in the afternoon. The great thing about homeschooling is that flexibility for you to choose the time and even the days that you homeschool. I know many parents that homeschool during the weekends, so their opportunity is there, and it's my prayer that if it's in your heart to homeschool, that you find the resources, the help, and even when you make the decision to change your schedules and even change a career path for your children, that the Lord would provide for that situation and for you and your family. Keep in mind that when your child is smaller, they require less time for schooling. When they're 4 or 5 years old, schooling may take at least 2 hours of the day. When your child is older, middle school to high school, they can do a lot of the learning on their own. It's all in understanding how homeschooling works and how it can be adjusted to your family needs. If you are a family that is viewing this video and you're going through those challenges, it is my prayer that you may find a way, that the doors are open to you, and that you may get to homeschool your child and provide the education that you want for them. The next challenge that you may face when you're homeschooling is criticism. When I decided to homeschool, I was faced with that criticism. My family was very against of us homeschooling, but I want to say that God has your back. When you decide to homeschool, you are making the right decision for your children. You're doing what's best for them, and no one else will provide the best education for them than you. So I want to encourage you and not to be afraid of the criticism. As long as you make an informed decision and you find the right tools for your child, you're not going to fail your child. You're going to learn alongside with them, and they're going to just flourish in that environment that you're providing for them. I know that homeschooling may have more challenges than the ones that I'm talking about in this video, but these are the most known challenges that you may face or that you might be encountering right now. But this last challenge I want to speak about is the fact that your child may not have the respect for you like if they will have for a stranger in a school setting. They feel like you're not the teacher and you may not know everything. So it's important that you may teach your child the difference and know that when the teacher at school is the boss, you are the boss in your home. Also, you might want to get with your spouse and make sure you both are on the same page, so that when your child does not listen, does not want to cooperate with you during your day, that you have a plan in place when those situations arise. So now let's set a foundation for success. What are your next steps? Now you know the cons and then you know the pros, and now you establish your why. You may need to look at your local laws and the requirements for homeschooling. You also might want to consider what homeschooling groups are in your area or co-ops, and start investigating if these homeschool groups around you have the same values as you and share the same passions as your child. The next step is to choose your curriculum. We will be discussing curriculum differences and choices in our next video, so stay tuned and turn on your notifications so that you won't miss it. You may want to start building habits with your child and start putting in their minds that there will be a change in your family. At the end of the day, homeschooling is not just about academics, it's about the heart. Homeschooling gives us the opportunity to create an environment where faith, family, and academics all come together. So if you're in that place where you're considering homeschooling or you're facing some challenges in your homeschool, consider praying about it, write your why, and reflecting on that why. You don't have to have it all figured out right now. You just need to make that first faithful step. Because when you lead your children with intention, you're also shaping their future, one day at a time. Thank you so much for watching, and I see you on our next video. Don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share this video, and to like it. Thank you.